Aloha, it's Dave Lawrence, and today we're speaking with a guitar warrior who's been hailed as one of the most talented cats on his instrument. And there are a lot of great guitar players, play a lot of different styles of stuff. This guy is truly a monster among many. He's toured on stage on bills with Joe Satriani and Steve Vai. He's been a session musician early in his career with noted artists we're going to hear about, people like Carole King and Christopher Cross. He's constantly pushing his sound and his style and about to launch an acoustic tour, which will really do that. We'll hear about that, plus a new record, Up Close, which is on tap. And it's a pleasure to welcome the great Eric Johnson. Aloha, brother Eric.
Thank you, Dave. Thanks for having me, man.
You're welcome, and thanks for calling us out here in Honolulu. We appreciate you just slicing off a little moment of your valuable time for us.
My pleasure, man.
And you've got this tour that's about to kick off in about a couple of weeks, and it's going to be putting you, a lot of people, maybe it's because of your cultural imprint with Cliffs of Dover, but a lot of folks think of you as such an electric guitarist. Talk a little bit about how this tour is going to further you with pushing the envelope.
Well, for the last few years, I have done like 4 or 5 acoustic tours across the U.S., and so, it's just kind of taking another opportunity to get out and play with these other fine guitarists. We're going to do a 3-guitarist tour. Peppino D. Agostino is going to play, and then Andy McKee's going to play, and then I'll play. And at the end of the night, we'll play a couple of things together. But, it's just every once in a while when time permitting, I like to get out and maybe, do some solo acoustic stuff. It's kind of a different type of music and a different approach than the electric thing, but it's good, kind of try to broaden my perspective a little bit.
And you're just such a monster too, and I've admired your work, electric and acoustic. But it just is such a maybe it's because of the impact that radio has when you get yourself on the radio like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's just nice to have the opportunity and play for maybe a little different. Like this thing is a performance hall of college tours, so it's a little bit different kind of venue and a different vibe of playing. And and just had a little bit of downtime. I finished a brand new electric record a couple of months ago, and we're just waiting for that to come out in November. So just had an opportunity to do a little thing on the side, and I also want to try to do an acoustic record next year.
Is there something to do in the trios that really grabs you? You like doing that?
I have a lot in the past. When this new electric record comes out in November, I'm half thinking about maybe trying something a little bigger.
Like what? Like a stage full of guitars or something?
Yeah, maybe, and sousaphones and no, I don't know, maybe 10,000 cornets on top of a Scottish hill or something. I don't know. Maybe just maybe a keyboard player, or maybe have on this last electric record that I've just finished. I had some guest vocalists sing on it as well, so it might be neat to kind of shake it up and get some other people to sing as well as do some playing.
Well, Up Close, that's the title that's going to be, correct?
Right. Uh-huh.
Tell me a little bit more about it. I know that people are really excited to have another electric record from you. This is going to be, who are some of the cats? You talked about some guest vocalists. Who are they?
Yeah, Johnny Lang sang on it, and Steve Miller sang, and Malford Milligan from Texas fame sang on it. I'm really happy to have all 3 of those guys sing. And I sang a few tunes myself, but several of the songs were sung by other people, and then Jimmy Vaughn played on it, and Sonny Landreth played guitar on it, and had a host of other people come in and do some really interesting textures and stuff. And it's like 15 pieces of music, new pieces. I did do one cover of a Mike Bloomfield Buddy Miles tune off the Electric Flag record. That's the one Steve Miller sang, actually, called Texas Blues Piece.
Were you thinking about these guys for the specific songs? How did they end up being, on each of these individual tracks?
It actually started more like I just kind of went in and started doing the record, and I cut a whole bunch of tunes. I cut like 20-something songs, and just started kind of seeing what was happening, what wasn't, and then once we called through it, and a lot of that was just like halfway through the project going, well, it might be neat to get somebody else to do this or that, or let's call so-and-so, see if they're in town, or sometimes when, like, Johnny Lang was in town playing in Austin, and we decided to bring him down and to sing on it. So it's kind of like letting go a little bit and just seeing where things went kind of their own serendipity kind of thing, just like kind of let things take their own motion.
That's cool. Yeah, sometimes people, when I talk to people, they have, they'll have, like I was just talking to Larry Carlton the other day, and he was telling me about doing this Michael Jackson Off the Wall record, and how Quincy Jones had this one tune, and he just said to Michael, we got to have Carlton on it. So I just wonder, sometimes I'm thinking of you and you're naming all these major cats, and that's cool, like how it was that you hooked up with Johnny. How about the Jimmy Vaughn track?
Yeah, well, Steve Miller was in town singing, playing a gig, and Jimmy and I went out there and sat in with Steve, and then after his show, we just said, hey, well, let's go over to the studio and cut a blues piece. So we cut a thing live with, Jimmy just came in and played, and Steve sang, and we just kind of knocked it out.
So they're both on that track?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, that's cool. Man, two monsters together with you. Look at you.
Yeah, it was fun. I enjoyed it.
Ah, that's awesome, and that's the whole record is electric. There's nothing acoustic on it.
There's a little bit of acoustic guitar, just to overdubs, but no, there's not really an acoustic piece on this record. But I am trying to work on recording a complete acoustic record.
When you do this tour, I guess the reason I was asking it is because the timing of all of it, like up close, is it going to come out literally right as the acoustic tour with Andy and Pepino starts?
Yeah, the electric record is slated to come out in early November, so
Okay.
It'll be right after the acoustic tour. But we are doing a version of the acoustic tour. We're doing the same tour we do in October in the Midwest and East Coast. We're going to do again out in California in January, and also Texas.
But of course, before we do that, you're going to be doing the Experience Hendricks tour, second one this year.
Yeah, that's it'll be my third time to go out with those guys. It's a fun thing to do.
Tell me about, I knew that you had, that's a great tour. My buddy, I've known John McDermott since, for a long, long time, since the early 90s. I used to live in Boston. So I've heard a lot about those tours from the inside. What are some quality memories of the one from earlier this year?
Well, it was great hearing Robert Randolph with his steel band, the cats that play with him, the Sacred Steel Band. That's really wonderful. And all those guys sounded great. Johnny Lang's great on it. And, it's just... it's a really, really cool thing having everybody get together and play together. Living Color was on the last one, and it's a trip, just kind of hanging out and doing a lot of, just talking and yakking and having, talking about a lot of experiences and stuff, and sharing stories. And so it's a fun tour where you spend some time on stage and some time just jamming with people backstage and everything. So it kind of lends it ways for all sorts of stuff to happen.
And you do the whole thing, huh? It's not like you just do a few shows.
Yeah, different people do different things. I actually have done it where I've done part of it and then kind of, break off to go back to do something else. But this tour, this leg, I'm going to just go ahead and do the whole thing.
When you're out there doing these, the Experience Hendricks, and John's been doing these for a few years and really successfully growing them, do you ever, Eric, as you're standing up there, do you look over at Billy Cox when you're playing sometimes, and have you ever thought to yourself, this man stood alongside Jimmy at Woodstock?
Oh, big time. I mean, and especially, when we were, before Mitch passed away, the first one I did, there were many times we'd be backstage just hanging out, sitting on the couch with Mitch and Billy, and I'd just be like pinching myself like, wow, those guys were, those were the dudes. They were hanging out with Hendrix and playing with him all those years. And no, it was a real honor, and to be able to talk to those guys and get to know them a little bit. And then Billy, of course, he's on every one of them. He'll be on this next one. Yeah, it's great. And Billy can really give you when you talk to him sometimes, he can give you a really inside view and reflection of what it was like to be. He was Jimi Hendrix's really close friend. Was way deeper than just the career and the music and all that. They were just buddies, and they were buddies since the time they were teenagers. So
yeah, dude, they used to jump.
Whenever Billy talks about Jimmy, it's from his close friend,
They jumped out of airplanes together for the Army.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to Billy a few times. He's always You're right. It's incredible to talk to him because as what you were saying there, I think what you're saying is he can give you a lot of perspective, not only as Jimmy with several different versions of what Jimmy did professionally musically, because as you probably know, he did both the Experience and he did the Band of Gypsies. He did the Gypsy Sun and Rainbows thing that was very short lived. But on top of that, he's got all these personal anecdotes from just, as you pointed out, knowing Jimmy as a person, not just as the star.
Exactly.
He's cool like that. That's. So you're tight with him?
Well, I've gotten to know him. I've been fortunate to know him a little bit, but yeah, I haven't had the opportunity to hang with him a whole lot, but the little bit I have has been wonderful.
I bet you're looking forward to that. That's got to be a trip. Take me back to something I read about you, Eric, which I wonder how much of an influence or not it may have had on your life. I've never been to Africa. My dad has been there twice. I wish I had gotten to go with him. I see that you went with your family.
Yeah, I did. I was 19, and we went over there for a few months and went on all these picture safaris and saw all these remote places and heard natives and drums at night and saw all sorts of animals. It was quite a trip.
Where did you go? Months?
Yeah, we went for a couple of months. Yeah, we were around the middle part of Africa and southern Africa, and it was great.
How old were you?
I was 20, I think, 19 or 20.
So you've got killer memories, and it was you and both your parents, and who else?
My sister and her husband and some of her husband's family.
Are there enduring memories of that you can share with us? Just considering that most of us have not been fortunate to do any number of the things you've done, but just any insight into your time in Africa.
I think the Victoria Falls was pretty amazing. I always have vivid memories of that. You're out in this arid land, and then all of a sudden you get in the proximity of Victoria Falls, and it just turns into this lush rainforest because of all the spray coming off the falls. And then once you get there, it's just it's mind-boggling to look at.
Wow. And what was the coolest animal? You saw lions and stuff, yeah?
Yeah, we saw rhinoceros and lions and crocs, hippos, zebra, springbok, wildebeest.
Gorillas?
Hey.
Any gorillas?
No gorillas. I think that's up more in the cooler mountain region, up a little bit north of where we were. And we saw giraffes. Yeah.
Do you have a ton of pictures from it?
I have a few, yes.
Dude, what a lucky cat. I mean, that's just really cool to get to do with your parents. Very envious of that one.
It was nice.
I bet it was. Early in your career, I have read you've said that it was not you on it, but the Christopher Cross, Ride Like the Wind, were you involved with him around that point?
Well, I played on that record, but I played on a song called Minstrel Gigolo, which is one song off that record.
That's a ferocious guitar sound on the title track. I was thinking, man, I wonder if that was Eric when I first read about that.
No, that's Chris, actually.
He's laying down the law on that thing. Any good memories of working with him?
Yeah, he's a good guy. I mean, I've known Chris since we were teenagers. We were buddies in Austin back in the old days before he found success, and we just used to pal around and stay up late at night and talk about music and stuff.
That's cool. He's a cool guy. It's a great tune. How about Carole King? How'd you get to work with her?
Yeah, I met her in Austin when she came down to do a record, and they asked me to be a session guitarist for the record, and so came in and played on Pearl's songs of Goffin and King, and then she went on the road in Europe and just decided to hire me to do that.
And so you got to do the record and the tour.
Right, yeah.
Dude, and how was the tour? What are the memories of doing that?
It was great. We did a real whirlwind tour of Europe, so it was pretty quick. But she's an amazing lady. She's extremely talented, and she wrote so many number one hits, stuff that I think she wrote like 50 number one hits, and it's stuff that other artists did, that she didn't necessarily ever do herself, but
right.
Other artists did. She was in her and and she was in the Brill building back in the early 60s, which is this songwriting building where she just sat around and wrote hits, and they'd find artists to record them, so she never ran. I mean, it was just amazing. I'd sit around the piano with her, and she'd go, "Oh, you wrote," and I'd be, "Oh, you wrote that too, or you wrote that?" And it's all these songs.
What a cool thing to get to do and go out and play them live in concert too.
Yeah, it's good.
Are you still have a relationship at all with her?
I haven't talked to her in a long time.
Man, she's done good last few years, huh?
Yeah.
Thing's been massive. Eric Clapton had you perform at his Crossroads Fest. You didn't actually get up there and play with him, though, did you?
No, I think he was probably besieged by a lot of people to play with him. But I got to hear his set. He was great.
Did you just do one of the Crossroads, or have you done more than one?
No, I've just done one.
And I read that, how did you, if this is actually the case, that Steve Morse, he did a tune for you, and it was partially a tribute to you?
Well, I don't know about that. I mean, I played on a song that Steve did on his record, and I sang on it and played on it.
I was just reading, I forget the name of it, that he did a tune, and it was like partially a tribute to you. It was like a couple of other cats that he really admired a lot. But I was just wondering, he's always been, I look at him as very similar to you. He's kind of one of these cats who's such a gifted player and has this really fluid sound. How much? What do you think of his? Where do you put him into the modern guitar player thing?
I think he's a great player. He's a really fine musician. He's very just versatile. He's a great acoustic guitarist too. I like the way he plays acoustic.
I was lucky he came and jammed for me one time. I asked him to come back to when I was in college at like 2 a.m. We were talking to him after a show in Boston, and we talked. He and God, I can't remember the cats in the band. It was like 1991, and they all came back and played live in our college, live on the radio, WERS.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and just like I've always admired the way he's very accessible, down to earth.
Yeah, he's great.
Do you like him with Purple?
Yeah, he's pretty good at anything he does. He's really good. He just nails it.
Who are your all-time favorite guitarists, Eric?
Oh, I don't know. Probably, Wes Montgomery is one of them for sure, and Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, Django Reinhardt, Charlie Christian, Les Paul, Jerry Reed, Chet Atkins, those guys.
Are there people alive that you are still hungry to get a chance to work with in your future?
Oh, I'd love to work with anybody that, there's a lot of people I love working with, so, yeah, anything that I consider at all kind of a blessing and a challenge, and I always learn something about music every time.
Well, who in particular that you admire would you really like to get the chance to work with?
I'd love to work with Jeff Beck someday. I think that would be fun. And, love to work with Stanley Clarke maybe someday. And, I'll think of 20 people when we hang up, but...
No, it's just nice to know a few of them because you never know. Next time I talk to you, you may have gotten to talk with one, and I'll refer back to this interview, and I'll realize, wow, he's really gotten to have another one of his dreams come true.
Well, thank you. Yeah, and it might be because we mentioned it or something. You never know.
Well, you never know. You've had a hell of a life, and people can catch you on the tour. Are you ever gonna? What's the chances of talking you into coming out and playing for us here in Honolulu?
I'd love to. Yeah, we were there. It's been quite a while, but.
When was it that you were here?
I'm thinking early. It was like 2002, maybe, or was it 2000, maybe?
I think it was because I've been here since '02, and you haven't been here since then.
Okay, yeah. With that, I'd love to come back.
Oh, we would really like to have you come. Do you ever come on? Have you been here on vacation since, or that was the last time you were here?
I've probably been there like 3 times, I guess, 3 or 4 times, but. Love to go back though. It's just wonderful. Which are you in Honolulu?
I am in Honolulu.
Okay.
Where you've been here, and where else have you been?
Maui and Kauai.
Which was your favorite?
I think I think I had a lot of fun in Maui because I got to hang there for about a week and go to all the different towns and drove up to Hana and Lahaina and Kihei and just kind of got to hang out at Big Beach a few times and stuff. So
Nice.
that was also I was just overwhelmed with how beautiful it was, and it was just great and a wonderful time there. I definitely want to come back.
Well, I'll keep in touch with your people if there's ever anything I can do to help make that happen. We are Hawaii Public Radio. We broadcast statewide, so we probably reach more people than anyone else in the state. We're the NPR station out here, and it would be a thrill to welcome you to town. I think the world of your musicianship, your diversity. I wish this tour with Andy and Pepino was coming here.
Oh, that would be nice. Well, maybe we'll do another acoustic tour down the road or something. We can do something with that. That would be fun. Yeah, for sure. Aloha, this is Eric Johnson. You've made a great choice. This is the only show that matters. With my buddy, Dave Lawrence.